Good morning, guys. Another weekend getaway, and yet again we're here in Portland on the north coast of Jamaica. And this morning I would just like to talk a little bit about the most important thing that Jehovah has created us all to become, as a thing that we take for granted and assume that it's automatic. And it's simply this: there is this assumption that every little boy and every little girl, by virtue of chronological age, mature to become men and women. And I'm discovering that there's nothing further from the truth. There are many people who have entered adulthood, and by adulthood I'd say above the age 18 years old, who have not made a transition from boyhood and girlhood to manhood and womanhood. What they have essentially become are old males and old females. And when you read Holy Bible and delve into what Jehovah intended for all of us to become, it will be clear that we have been ascribing the title of manhood and womanhood irresponsibly onto persons because they have attained a certain age, education, material existential things, and status. And this misrepresentation of manhood and womanhood has continued to cause no ends of confusion in our society. I keep sharing with my readers and those of you who watch these vlogs that I've had a failed marriage, and that failure can be attributed to the fact that I was clueless as to what it meant to be a man. Although I was academically accomplished, held down jobs with very senior management positions where I'm responsible for staff and critical decision making. So I readily passed as a man, when in truth and in fact I was just a old boy. Because the more that I am committed to my spiritual development and focused on Holy Bible teaching as the blueprint for how to live life, I'm beginning to realize how wrong I was, and how the world enables boys and girls to not grow up to become the men and women that Jehovah intended us to be. Marriage is the highest calling on anyone's life, and it's a job not for old boys and old girls, males and females, but for men and women who understand the fundamental principles as outlined in the Holy Bible, which I refer to as kingdom principles. Couples, and I dare say Christian couples, who have been married and successfully married, will tell you that the hardest thing that they've ever had to do in their life is marriage. But it's the most fulfilling endeavor when done according to Holy Bible teaching as the Creator intended. The Bible tells us that a man should leave his mother and father and take unto himself a wife. Now, it didn't say an old boy or male, a man. And here's the man piece. Only a man will have what it takes to love his wife as Jesus Christ loves the church. Because as we all know, the church was what killed Jesus Christ. So what it means to be a man and a husband is someone who first loves his wife and will not be easily daunted by her lack of response, or will be minded to be motivated by harboring expectations of reciprocity. Because once a man goes down that route where you're going to be loving a wife on the basis of how she responds to you, that marriage will be doomed from start. Because it's very rare that wives will fulfill the expectations of their husbands consistent with their expectations. Likewise, a husband who's married to an older girl or a female will not likely find a wife who will be submissive to him. And then we have a cycle of chicken and eggs that spirals down the rabbit hole to to divorce court. Now I've come to the realization that marriage works best when you have both man and woman as husband and wife prioritizing Holy Bible teachings and Jehovah's Kingdom principles. Because when you do not prioritize the Holy Bible teaching, then you're open to the dictates of the world and world standards. And by now, it should be abundantly clear to everyone that Satan rules the world. Everything that Jehovah intended for our benefit within a particular context, Satan has somehow systematically and otherwise manipulated circumstances where behaviors, values, and attitudes are normalized to be anti whatever the Holy Bible says. The Bible is very clear that sex, which is the most wonderful thing that Jehovah has created, is to be enjoyed within the context of marriage between a husband and a wife. But when you look at what happens in the world today, sex is glorified, glamorized, and is being had seemingly by everyone other than those who are married. Now, it's only natural that if we are engaged, and most of us are engaged in anti-Christ behavior, then what we're trying to do is to mock Jehovah by believing that the outcome will have his blessings and it will be good. And nothing can be further from the truth. So here we are. We have children being born out of wedlock, which is a cornerstone of generation building, because you need children for generational creation. You can't have generations without children. But the context in which children are being born and raised are absolutely antithetical to what Jehovah intended. So these children that we celebrate as blessings are essentially curses, because we can't expect them to grow up to become men and women. We have a generation of old boys and old girls, males and females. And this is why there are very few men left in the society. We have people who are over 60, 70, 80 years old. We're exercising power. We have government ministers and prime ministers and presidents who, when you hold them to the standard of Holy Bible teachings, you recognize that they're nothing more than boys and girls masquerading as men and women. And everything that is dysfunctional about society emanates from the fact that we have too few godly men who are getting married to godly women and modeling what it means to be in a godly marriage. And because we have prioritized everything else other than godly marriages, Satan is winning and world prophecy is coming to pass. Because there's really nothing that we can do to turn back the tide on what's happening in the society today. Persons are their own gods, and the things that they're worshipping are just that, they're things, they're idols. So idolatry is the order of the day. And for us to try to find a solution to the myriad of problems that we're experiencing outside of going back to the Holy Bible and being obedient to Jehovah's kingdom principles is absolutely a waste of time. And this is why, for my part, I've resisted the urge to lean on my worldly understanding, and I'm delving more into the scriptures, because that's our only hope. And the only difference we can all make to change the tide of what's happening in the world today is that we commit ourselves to seeking first the kingdom of Jehovah and his righteousness, recognizing that everything else is an exercise in futility and really a grand waste of time. So I'll quickly wrap up again and just wish you all a fantastic week. It's been raining in Portland. The sea is very choppy. So I guess snorkeling is out for today. But I'll just go back and join the wife on the beach and have a glass of wine before heading back over to Kingston in the afternoon. So have a blessed week. God bless.